My name's Terry, and welcome to Ice Fishing 101. I was browsing a fishing message board the other day, and somebody asked how to set up a tip-up. So I thought I would basically show them via video. And by the way, this is a test video. What I have here is a Polar or Polar 2 style tip-up. Consists of the base, which in this case is made out of wood, some are made out of plastic, some are round to cover an ice hole perfectly. This particular one I think is made by Hi-Tech. It's relatively cheap. It's not a very fancy one, but when it comes to tip-ups, there's not really a whole lot to them. For those of you that don't know, tip-up again is used for ice fishing. Basically the design is you drill a hole in the ice, and this will sit with the ice at the base, and your spool sits in the water. Of course, that keeps it from freezing up. We can talk about line later. This particular one is filled with, I think, 60-pound Power Pro. I use it because I also musky fish, and I have it laying around, so there you go. Basically, the tip-up works is the spool is attached to a T up here that is spring-loaded for tension. You set your bait down into the water, and you set your flag. As the fish comes along and sees your bait down here, he grabs it, and as the line starts to pull, the spool turns the T and releases the flag. Now the question on the message board, I think, was more of not how one of these works, but the settings. He said it seemed really tough and really hard for the fish to take the line and trip the T. On all of your thermal type tip-ups that work on a T system, you have a portion that's got a large notch and a very skinny notch. Now, those two things seem pretty obvious. You want to use the large notch for more tension. Say you're using really large suckers for big northerns or muskies or really big walleyes. You don't want it set so light to where your minnow can actually tug on it as it's swimming and trip the flag, which would happen if you had it set on the really light setting. As that little minnow's going, it's just gonna trip your flag. What a lot of people don't realize, though, is besides the big notch and little notch, depending on what side of the T is on also makes a difference on how hard it is to set. If your notched end is pointing towards the spring where the flag is going downhill, actually makes a difference on how hard or how easy it is. When it's going towards the spring, it's actually easier than if it's going away from the spring. It's actually harder. See, it's really, 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 really hard. In fact, it's there. It finally went. Now, you'd want to use that really, really hard setting, like I said, for like musky fishing or large pike. Also, even beyond that, you still also have more varied tension that you can do. On all the tip-ups that use a T like this, there's a nut right above the actual T part that, you know, releases a flag. If you loosen that and hold onto your spool, you can unscrew the T and it'll release tension on this spring, which will make it which will make your spool very free. Whereas if you're fishing for much larger fish, you can loosen the nut, hold the spool, and screw the T down, and it will tighten up this whole system. Then you, of course, take that little nut and spin it down to where it locks the T in place. So there you have it. There's actually an unlimited amount of tension and settings that you can use with a polar style tip-up. It's something you need to play with, but like I said, simply as which side of the tip-up the notch is on makes a big difference, as well as getting your tension set right with this adjustable spring. I think if you play around with that, and as you spend time on the ice, I think you'll find tip-up fishing to be quite enjoyable. So with that, thank you.